I want you to imagine a morning like any other. You wake up, grab your phone, and instantly get pulled into someone else's world. Messages, social media, emails, notifications, all of it drags you away from yourself before you even take a deep breath. And then, you feel like you're running a race without knowing where the finish line is. Have you ever felt that way? That sense of being constantly busy, yet not truly alive? I see it all the time, not just in young people chasing success, but even in those who've already achieved everything they once dreamed of. One of my former clients, a successful businessman in New York, once told me, "My life looks perfect on the outside, but inside my head, everything's a mess. I can't control anything, not even myself." That sentence stayed with me for a long time because it speaks for so many people today. We think we're controlling our lives, but in truth, life is the one controlling us. That's exactly why I turned to Stoic philosophy, not as an ancient theory, but as a modern art of living. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." I've spent over a decade teaching and practicing psychotherapy based on Stoic principles, and I've realized something powerful. What causes suffering isn't our circumstances, but how we respond to them. Stoicism doesn't tell you to suppress emotions, it teaches you how to stand firm within them so you can live a peaceful life without needing to withdraw from the world. And that's what today's video is all about. Together we'll explore 13 Stoic lessons to help you master yourself and find inner peace in this chaotic world. These aren't lofty philosophical quotes, but simple practical exercises you can use every day, when you're criticized, when you feel lost, or when life seems too heavy to handle. I've seen Stoicism transform people who once believed they were beyond saving. One woman came to me in deep depression. She had lost her job, her faith, and almost her will to live. I didn't tell her to think positive. Instead, I taught her one small habit. Each day, write down 3 things you can still control. At first, she wrote, "I can breathe. I can get out of bed. I can think." A month later, she told me, "I don't know what changed, but I feel stronger, calmer. I actually want to live again." That is the power of Stoicism. It doesn't change the world, but it changes how you exist within it. And the beautiful thing is, when you learn to return to yourself, to master your emotions, control your reactions, and live with virtue and gratitude, everything around you naturally falls into place. Your relationships improve. Anxiety fades. You start to feel free, even if the world stays the same. So if you're hearing these words right now, maybe it's because you're ready to step out of the cycle of stress, comparison, and endless wanting, and begin the journey back to a peaceful mind, where you're no longer ruled by the world, but by how you choose to live in it. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to share with you 13 Stoic lessons that, if you understand and practice them, can forever change the way you see life. Not to make you perfect, but to make you calm, free, and grounded, like a mountain standing tall in the middle of a storm. And perhaps when you truly grasp this, you'll realize a simple truth. Peace doesn't come from controlling the world. Peace comes from controlling yourself. 1. Master your reactions. One of the first lessons the Stoics teach is this: it's not what happens that makes you suffer, but how you react to it. Think of the last time you got angry. Maybe someone insulted you, or a small inconvenience made you snap. In that moment, didn't it feel like you lost control? I once had a student, a young father, who told me he always regretted yelling at his child. He knew it was wrong, yet he couldn't stop himself. I told him one thing: anger doesn't arrive on its own. It stays because you invite it to. Stoics don't suppress emotions, they observe them. Instead of reacting right away, they create a pause. In that pause, reason appears, and with reason comes choice. Every time you pause for even a single second before reacting, you're not just changing the outcome, you're retraining your own mind. 2. Focus only on what you can control. Epictetus once said, Some things are within our control and some are not. And most of the pain in life comes from failing to tell the difference. I've worked with hundreds of people who try to control everything: results, other people's emotions, even the past. One woman told me, "I just want everything to be perfect." I replied, "If perfection were possible, Marcus Aurelius wouldn't have needed to write Meditations." When you try to hold on to what cannot be held, you exhaust yourself. When you let go, you find freedom. The Stoics focus their energy on action, not on outcomes. You can't control the weather, but you can control your attitude. You can't control what others say, but you can control how you respond. And that's where true freedom lies, a kind of inner liberation no power, money, or fame can ever give you. 3. Live by virtue. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If there is anything better than virtue, pursue it." If not, hold fast to this. The Stoics believed that virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance is the foundation of all good things. A person can be rich, successful, and powerful, but without virtue they live in inner chaos. I once met a famous CEO who told me, "I have everything I ever wanted, yet I hate myself." I asked him, "Why?" He replied, "Because I know I lost my conscience to get it." Virtue isn't some moral luxury, it's the light that guides you when you no longer know where you're going. When you choose fairness even when no one is watching, when you speak the truth despite fear of being hurt, when you hold back anger instead of seeking revenge, that's when you're living in the true spirit of Stoicism. The Stoics believe that happiness doesn't come from having more, but from being better. 4. Daily gratitude awareness. Seneca once said, "It is not because life is good that we are grateful, but because we are grateful that life becomes good." In our modern world, we've forgotten the art of gratitude. We compare, we chase, and we constantly believe happiness lies in the next thing. But for the Stoics, gratitude is the medicine that heals the mind. I remember a soldier who came back from war. He had lost a leg and had fallen into depression. When I asked him what kept him wanting to live, he said, "Because every morning I can still hear the birds outside my window. I still have a chance to love." He didn't talk about what he had lost, he talked about what remained. That's the Stoic spirit. Focus on what exists, not what's gone. When you practice gratitude, you stop seeing life through the eyes of lack and start seeing it with a heart of abundance. Every morning, ask yourself though, what am I grateful for today? It could be a breath, a friend, or simply the chance to live one more day. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances, it changes how you feel about them. 5. Embrace adversity as training. One of my favorite quotes from Marcus Aurelius is, "The obstacle is the way." Stoics don't fear difficulty, they welcome it, because they know, without adversity there is no growth. I once worked with an athlete who broke his leg just before a major competition. He was devastated, convinced his career was over, but during recovery he began reading Stoic philosophy. One day he told me, "I realized it wasn't the fall that broke me, it was the thought that I couldn't rise again." When he returned to competition, he was stronger than before, physically and mentally. Adversity is like a test from the universe. It asks you, do you truly know who you are? Can you remain calm when everything falls apart? When you learn to see hardship as a teacher instead of an enemy, you realize that nothing is actually working against you. Everything is training you to become someone better. 6. Detach from desire. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." Desire is one of the greatest sources of mental exhaustion. I've seen many people say, "Once I have more money, I'll finally feel at peace." But when they get more, they just want even more. And peace keeps slipping further away. Stoics don't reject success, they reject dependence on it. They can enjoy the good things in life, but they don't let those things own their soul. I remember a friend of mine, an artist, who fell into depression after becoming famous. He told me, "I'm more afraid of losing people's attention than of failing." And I said, "That means you're living in the hands of the crowd, not in the strength of your own mind." Detaching from desire doesn't mean abandoning ambition. It means doing what you believe is right and being at peace with whatever comes next. When you're no longer dependent on approval, you become free. And when you're free, you have nothing left to prove. 7. Voluntary discomfort. Seneca taught that practice poverty, cold, and hunger, so that when they arrive, you won't fear them. It might sound extreme, but what he really meant was, step outside your comfort zone on purpose. Every time you do, you train your mind to develop a unique kind of strength, the strength of endurance. I once guided a group of young people through a 3-day simplicity challenge. No phones, no social media, no coffee. On the first day they were restless. On the second day they began to observe themselves. By the third they said, "I've never seen my mind this clear before." Modern humans are addicted to comfort, but comfort doesn't nourish the spirit. Only when you accept small discomforts do you discover your true inner power. Try this. Eat a little less one day. Take a cold shower in the morning. Stay silent instead of arguing. Not to prove anything, but to remind yourself, I can handle more than I think. When you master discomfort, life can no longer break you so easily. 8. Live according to nature. This is the deepest foundation of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believe that to live according to nature is to live in harmony with reason, compassion, and impermanence. That means stop resisting what you cannot change. The world moves as it does, and when you stop fighting reality, peace begins to appear. I once worked with a woman going through a divorce. She said, "Well, I can't accept that he left." I asked her, "You did it? If you can't accept it, who are you really fighting, him or life itself?" She was silent. A month later she texted me, "I don't want to change anyone anymore. I just want to change how I see things. To live according to nature means to flow with life, not against it. To stop blaming, to stop forcing. Spring cannot last forever, and neither can happiness. Things come and go, and it's their coming and going that make life meaningful. When you understand this, you stop fearing change and loss. You begin to live as part of the universe, not trying to control it, but growing with it." 9. Guard your time. Seneca once warned, "We're angry when someone steals our money, yet we let others steal our time without objection." Have you noticed? Each day, we spend hours trying to please others, scrolling aimlessly, or worrying about things we can't change. And then at night, we complain, "I don't have enough time." The truth is, time is never the problem. The problem is that we haven't learned to protect it as something sacred. The Stoics saw time as the gold of the soul. They chose carefully how to spend each minute, because they knew that time is life itself. I once told a student, "Write down 3 things that drain your energy each day, and practice saying no to at least one of them." 2 weeks later she told me, "I can't believe it. Just saying one less yes made me feel so much more at peace." You can't do everything, you can't please everyone, but you can always choose what truly deserves your time and attention. Every no you say is really a yes, to your own peace of mind. 10. Master your mind. The mind is the greatest battlefield you'll ever face. Seneca once wrote, "The mind can turn heaven into hell and hell into heaven." Every day, hundreds of thoughts run through your head, and most of them aren't even real. I once asked a patient struggling with chronic anxiety, "How many of the things you fear actually happen?" She gave a sad smile and said, "Maybe 1%. I replied, "Then how many years have you lived under the other 99? The Stoics called this being a slave to the mind. You can't choose every event, but you can always choose the meaning you give it. A failure can be an ending, or a lesson that begins a new chapter. A criticism can wound you, or help you see yourself more clearly. Mastering your mind isn't about erasing negative thoughts. It's about being aware of them without letting them control you. Because when you master your thoughts, you master your life. 11. The practice of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing the weight you've been carrying. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, those who do wrong act out of ignorance of what is right. When you understand that, anger turns into pity. I once worked with a woman who had carried resentment toward her father for 15 years. She said, "He doesn't deserve my forgiveness." I asked her do you deserve peace? She broke down in tears. A month later, she wrote her father a letter, not to reconcile, but to free herself. That is the Stoic spirit. Never let hatred control your mind, because no one deserves to own your freedom but you. Forgiveness is one of the highest acts of reason. It allows you to live fully in the present, unchained from the past. 12. The power of presence. If you ask me why modern people are so tired, I'd say it's because they've forgotten how to live in the present. Their minds are always somewhere else, regretting the past, fearing the future, rarely touching the now. The Stoics understood that the present moment is the only thing we truly have. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Concentrate on what you are doing as if it were the last thing you would ever do in your life." I once helped a woman struggling with chronic stress using just one exercise, paying attention to her breath while washing her hands. 3 weeks later, she said, "I still work as much as before, but I no longer feel like I'm being swept away." Presence is a skill, a Stoic form of meditation. When you're fully there, even in small moments, you realize that peace isn't in the future. It's right here in the present breath of your life. Try spending one afternoon without your phone, without multitasking. Just sit, sip your tea, look at the sky, and feel your own existence. You'll see you already have everything you need to be happy. 13. Acceptance of reality, and finally, the most profound lesson in all of Stoic philosophy. Accept what you cannot control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Love what happens to you, for it is what was meant to happen." It may sound contradictory, but this is the root of true peace. When you stop fighting life, life stops fighting you. I once lost someone very dear to me. For years I tortured myself thinking, if only I could change what happened. Until one day I read these words from Epictetus. "Do not wish that events happen as you want them to, but wish that they happen as they do, and your life will go well." And I understood, suffering doesn't come from loss itself, but from resisting the fact that it happened. Acceptance doesn't mean surrender, it means aligning with reality, using your energy to move forward instead of clinging to what's gone. When you truly accept, resentment fades, fear disappears, and resistance dissolves. You simply live, with calmness in your heart. These 5 lessons, guarding your time, mastering your mind, forgiving, being present, and accepting reality, form the deepest part of the Stoic journey. They don't just teach you how to survive, they teach you how to live freely in a chaotic world. When you value your time, your mind gains focus. When you control your thoughts, emotions stop ruling your life. When you forgive, peace returns. When you are present, you truly live. And when you accept reality, you find what everyone is searching for, inner peace. In the end, Stoicism doesn't teach you how to change the world. It teaches you how to stand firm within it without losing yourself. Now I want you to sit still for a few seconds, take a deep breath, and think about everything you've just heard. Stoic lessons. They may sound simple, but each one is a powerful reminder of how we live, think, and react every day. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And it's true. Everything begins from within. When you master your thoughts, you master your emotions. When you master your emotions, you master your actions. And when you master your actions, you change your entire life. I've worked with many people who believed it was too late for them to change. But often all it took was one small step, rewriting a negative thought, accepting what couldn't be changed, or simply choosing silence over reaction. And suddenly, something miraculous happened. Not because the world changed, but because they did. And when people change, everything around them eventually aligns. Stoicism isn't a philosophy of the past, it's the philosophy of today, for those living in a noisy, pressured, demanding world. It reminds us of something simple yet profound. Peace isn't found by escaping life, but by standing still in the storm, unshaken. If you're still here listening to these final moments, I know you don't just want to understand Stoicism, you want to live it. And this journey doesn't have to be lonely. I invite you to join us at Stoic Awakening More, a community where we learn to live strong, calm and grounded in the modern world. Each video on the channel is a genuine conversation, not to teach but to awaken. Because sometimes, one sentence at the right moment can change the way you see the world. If something in today's message spoke to you, if there was even one moment that made you pause and reflect, please subscribe to Stoic Awakening More, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who might need it. Not to spread philosophy, but to spread peace and awareness, the two things our world needs most today. Before you go, remember this: you can't control the world, but you can always control how you walk through it. Don't wait for life to get easier before you find calm. Find calm, and life will get easier. And if you take away only one thing from this video, let it be this: everything you seek, strength, freedom, peace, is already within you. Stoicism is just the mirror that helps you see it again. I'll see you in the next video on Stoic Awakening More, where every moment is a small step back to your true self. And remember, live calmly, live with purpose, and let the world see the quiet light of peace within you.